Hey investors, welcome back to Stoxpot, your go-to podcast to unpack what's happening around the world of business and economics. It's me LEKSHMANmj, and today we are exploring India's economic reform journey, a tale of bold strokes, broken promises, and unfinished agendas. Imagine a country with one of the youngest population in the world, a foundation of bold economic reforms, and immense potential for growth. Sounds promising, right? But what happens when these reforms don't deliver growth as expected? By the end of this episode, you will understand why even well-designed reforms fail, how small businesses are struggling despite government effort, and why the next decade is crucial for India's future. Stay tuned because the story is not just about policies, it's about people, progress, and possibilities. India's economic reforms began decades ago with big goals like liberalization, privatization, and creating more competitive economy. Continuing that, structural reforms like GST and Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code were introduced to simplify process and boost growth. These reforms were designed to make life easier for businesses and create jobs. But here's the catch. While these policies looked great on paper, they didn't always work as intended because the process that were expected to work with it were not being executed smoothly. Simply, this scenario seems like you are a specialist in making tasty curries, but you have no ways to buy rice from anywhere. I hope you would have understood the situation very clearly. Now coming back to the point, effective implementation and efficient execution matters. A recent study highlights that without process reforms, small but crucial changes at ground level, even the best policies can fail. For example, 76% of small and medium enterprises regret to scale up their business, and over 65% of established owners feel stuck. They can't grow, and they see no hope for the future. This is not just about numbers, it's about real people who are losing faith in the system. So why do SMEs struggle so much? The problem lies in local governance. While national policies might look streamlined, state and local governments often create bottlenecks. Land acquisition for industries, permits, licenses, and infrastructure development, all these fall under state control. So without support from local authorities, even the best national policies may hit roadblocks. You might have probably heard about Ease of Doing Business initiative. It was supposed to help businesses thrive. But guess what? For SMEs, it has not worked. Because the focus has been on national level changes, ignoring the ground realities. Bureaucratic delays, complicated procedures, and lack of coordination between central and state governments have made life difficult for small businesses. This disconnect affects not just businesses, but also sectors like healthcare, education, and gender inclusion. Progress in these areas has been uneven, leaving the less privileged behind. For instance, if schools and colleges just only provide grade certificates and not the required technical expertise and essential skills, how can we expect such graduates to contribute fully to the economy? With that said, now let's talk about something specific: tax credits. Imagine running a business where you sell digital tools. For transactions under 30,000 rupees, everything is smooth. But for larger amounts, buyers deduct tax at source before paying you. You trust them to deposit the TDS later, but what if they don't? Suddenly, you lose out on tax credits you deserve. This issue is not limited to one sector. It affects everyone from startups to large corporations. In GST input tax credit system, the stakes are even higher. Buyers pay GST upfront but can't claim ITC until sellers file returns. And if the seller defaults, the buyer loses the credit. This creates inefficiencies, increased costs, and slows down business growth. So what's the solution? A system for instant tax credit reconciliation is the need of the era. Allowing buyers to pay taxes directly to the government at the time of payment would solve many problems. As a result, it would improve trust, enhance compliance, and accelerate tax collection. Plus, small businesses would not have to worry about delayed credits that affects their cash flow. Though implementing such a system won't be easy, it's a step worth taking in a country especially like India, where instant payment system like UPI is already a mega hit. So giving optional adoption to system like instant tax management system could help businesses transition smoothly without disrupting existing models. Now moving ahead, India stands at a pivotal juncture. We have a young dynamic population, a strong foundation of structural reforms, and a per capita income ready to surge. But this moment is more important. Without decisive action, our potential will wither. The next decade is critical for escaping the middle income trap and ensuring inclusive growth. Reforms must focus on administrative changes, capacity building, and empowering local governments. Areas like education, healthcare, and gender inclusion need urgent attention. Only then we can bridge the gap between policy and reality, thereby ensuring that every Indian benefits from growth. With that said, I hope now you have a clear picture of India's economic challenges and opportunities. Always remember, Reforms are not just about big ideas, they are about making those ideas work for everyone. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning into Stoxpot. If you find this episode insightful, make sure you follow and share this with your friends.